Mr. Holmes, you came. Oh, how kind. Though now, of course, I realize it is because of my game, not the works on display.
It needn't be one or the other. Your man's disguise was easily debunked, Mr. Vogel, but I shall admit that you planted in me the seed of curiosity.
Ah, terrific! I had no doubt you'd put the pieces together. Let us call it an opening gambit before the real game begins.
So, this little game of yours, what's it about?
An enigma to solve. A locked area in the basement with no windows found brutally vandalized. I have no clue how it was possible.
What about this intrusion? What happened?
Last night, I was about to leave the gallery when I heard a noise downstairs. I went to the basement, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It was admittedly a rudimentary inspection. It is not uncommon to get rats down there, so seeing nothing of note, I left and locked up the building. When I returned this morning, alas, I discovered that part of the exhibition had been torched, and there was no sign of the intruder. The mystery being, of course, that all the doors to the gallery were locked exactly as I left them.
And the door to the basement is the only entrance?
Correct. Tell me you're not intrigued.
And this locked area downstairs, what exactly was it?
The under gallery. It's always shut, and I'm the only one with the key.
Ah, so this is your private collection, not part of the gallery.
Oh, no. It's an exclusive exhibition of eccentric pieces. Only a select cadre of artists, investors, and collectors are admitted. Not everyone deserves to have their eyes opened.
Well, this matter is certainly within my wheelhouse.
This intrusion troubles me. Please take a look around if you're willing. The under gallery is through the door at the end.
I will see what I see.
You sure you don't like art, Sherry? Back home we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
A simplistic attempt at provocation.
Sherry, how about some company in that dreary chamber of yours?
Leave my loneliness unbroken, John. A handprint of the thing from another world. But it looks fresh, and its coal origin ruins the effect of the extra mundane. Sodden and mould-ridden. One presumes deliberately. Old, and hasn't been used for a long time. The left step's length is shorter than the right. It indicates that the walker was lame. Closed with a metal bolt. Footprints. Size 9.5. A true artist never shows an unfinished piece. Saturn devouring his sun. Oh, grim composition.
Unflinching in its ferocity, yet somehow...
The parasites of creativity. Or just a reflection of the artist's recreational interests. Coal fingerprints. I think we're looking for a man with a coal moustache. A Malpau butt. Ugh, sheer vandalism. Only an ignorant person could do such a thing. The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the hatch bolt. He accidentally pushed a shovel to the floor. Vogel heard the noise. At the sound of his approaching footsteps, the intruder hid inside the coffin. When Vogel entered the basement, he failed to notice anything strange and left without properly checking. The intruder waited until Vogel had left the caravanserai before burning the paintings in Wilde's room. But the vandalism was a cover for the theft. The pieces are not what I expected.
What do you think my collection is about?
Dozens of priceless works amassed simply for the sake of it and presented without care. It's not about the art, it's about excess, yes?
I don't know.
Well, that's absurd. Of course you know. It's your gallery.
There is no one answer, no singular truth, but many filtered through the subjective mind. That forgetting, embellishing, lying machine. Besides, what's wrong with a lie if it makes life more interesting?
What's wrong with a lie? It corrupts the ability of others to behave freely and rationally.
Men never act freely and rationally anyway. It matters not what is or isn't in the end. The only important thing is how you feel. And I simply want to feel and consume as much as I can. Don't you?
Feelings are simply one's animal ancestry trying to wrest back control of the brain. I try to avoid the distraction.
You try not to feel, even in a place like this? None of it moves you?
To be frank, I struggle to maintain even a whit of interest in art.
But, Mr. Holmes, it is joy incarnate, mankind's greatest achievement.
Mankind's highest achievement above all others is objective and rational thought.
I see then why you dislike art, for it means whatever you want it to.
Or perhaps, Mr. Vogel, I was lying.
Aha.
Mr. Vogel, my investigation has revealed that the intrusion was not merely vandalism but theft. The limping visitor left your place with a canvas.
That's very impressive.
This thief was familiar with the gallery and he was sporting a limp. Do any of your clients or artists come to mind?
My, your attention to detail is remarkable, Mr. Holmes. I should introduce you to Bosch's works. Alas, I'm afraid I cannot suggest a culprit.
The fire was a clever attempt to hide a stolen painting, even if it didn't fool me. I found the remnants of an empty frame in the pile of ashes. The canvas had been removed. Do you know which paintings in the Wild Room may have interested a thief? Were any particularly expensive?
Those pieces belong to a well-known artist named Boniface Mercurio. They're controversial, but not of a notably high value.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the latch and dislodged the shovel while doing so. That's the noise you heard yesterday. When you went downstairs to investigate, he hid in the coffin.
It seems I should have checked the space more thoroughly.
There's something more, is there not? I can see it in your eyes.
Indeed. There is another intriguing angle. I recently received an anonymous offer for one of Mercurio's works. The sum was more than fair, and indeed could have saved Mercurio from his artistic poverty. But he declined it.
Was it a performative whim? Some artists lionize pain and hardship as if their work would be worse after a meal and a hot bath.
I cannot tell. But not only did he refuse the deal, he insisted on displaying the painting in the public space. I was hoping to change his mind, but artists are a special breed of stubborn.
So where can I find Boniface Mercurio?
I know he lives somewhere in Old City, but couldn't be more specific. He's a prominent figure, so finding him shouldn't be a problem.
What was depicted in the piece?
A bound woman, wrapped in robes, being penetrated by a red devil that stared at us, the viewer. The beast had numerous tails growing from his back, and a large crowd gathered around the pair, silently watching the orgiastic scene.
Okay, well, given the nature of the other works on display, it's hard to see why that one stood out. What could possibly be its value?
The evaluation of art is very subjective, Mr. Holmes. After all, art is everything. A poem, a bruise, the beads of sweat on your beloved skin, even a masterfully solved crime.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
Regardless, the painting was one of a series called The Sabbath Night in Cordona. The works depict sex, violence, and other controversial acts that life, for better or worse, contains.
Ah, I see.
I'm not sure that you do, but that can wait for another time.
Well, I believe I have enough to begin. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. Your gallery certainly has unexpected depths.
I'm delighted to have been able to please a friend. In return, I expect you to come back with good news, or at least with a good story.
Mr. Holmes, I have something for you. Mr. Holmes, I see what you're up to. Mysterious stranger pursues betrothed woman. But please, let us keep things professional. I have in my possession an envelope containing details of a special assignment for you. Tell me, are you interested?
Miss Sertle, I am not pursuing you, and I am not pursuing further work at the minute.
Well, it shall wait for you here. Do come back. It's quite something.
Excuse me, young man. Where do you think you're going?
Greetings, ma'am. I'm looking for the...
I don't care who you're looking for. You shall not pass. No visitors allowed.
I wish to buy a painting from Mr. Boniface Mercurio. Is he at home?
Dearie, tell me, because old age has made me blind. Did someone write Information Bureau on my forehead? Because I'm not here to answer your questions. Entry is for residents only. If you aren't a resident, please leave, or I shall report you to the police.
Don't miss out on my... Let's pick something that suits you. Be careful with what you've taken.
Boniface, sweetie. Is that you? Ah, old age does terrible things to one's sight. I didn't recognize you at first.
How are you, Mum? I'm ashamed to admit that I've lost my key. Do you have a spare?
For heaven's sake! How many times will you lose that key of yours? Of course I have a spare. You artists all live in your own little world.
Please, accept my thanks.
I would rather accept your rent. You promised to pay me several weeks ago, and I'm still waiting.
I will pay you, I promise, very soon.
You'd better do, my dear. Or else I'll just change the lock. And I won't fall for those cow eyes.
The blood has dried.
I've heard of this style of painting. It is called Expressionism.
I wonder where he got that fancy camera. Despite the overall tendency towards mess, you cannot sit with the drawer pulled out like this. Someone left it after searching. It appears the wine was truly awful. The chest has been searched. Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Werder's description of the stolen painting. Judging by post-mortem rigidity, the body lay here for 1 or 2 days. The wound is precise. It was inflicted by a razor or a knife. A normal kitchen knife. A normal kitchen knife. Could be the murder weapon. Soaked in blood. It seems as if the puddle of blood was here before the rags. Aunt May whiskey, brandy bucks. Quite a collection he had here. The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material. Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon? Mercurio was developing photographs when the intruder snuck in. Mercurio heard him coming. While the thief was searching the chest, the painter ran towards him with a bottle in his hand. He smashed it across the thief's head. The intruder had no choice but to defend himself, and the weapon of opportunity happened to be a kitchen knife. Mercurio stepped aside to grab the painting, but the wine-blinded thief attacked Mercurio's throat. When the thief came to his senses, he saw Mercurio bleeding on the floor. He grabbed the rags and tried to bandage him, but it was too late. Why did Mercurio attempt to snatch the painting in the middle of a fight? To strike the intruder? Not with his painting, it was too important to him. It's time for some chemical magic, John.
That doesn't look like the painting we need, Sherry.
As expected, but that doesn't mean it won't tell us anything. Let's put it on the easel where it belongs. I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? If the intruder didn't take it, the skull should be somewhere here. Monster was actually a man. Poor girl. John, you ought to be thrilled. We are now hunting the devil himself.
What were you saying, Sherry? I was too busy sketching the scene, you know, crimes and such like, daily routine. Did you find something?
A photograph. It depicts a man in a red suit with tails sprouting from his back and multiple people in masks watching the scene. It all adds up. But the act of love, it wasn't given willingly, John. It was a violation. And the girl, she was with child.
Give that to me now. Did you recognize someone?
No. Although the victim is not from Cordona, she is African. Look at the ritual scars on her face.
Get that image out of your brain. You have to continue the investigation.
I must speak to the landlady. Perhaps she saw or heard something.
Sherry, you cannot tell her the truth about Mercurio. It will hurt her.
John, that's illogical. Sooner or later, she will come here and discover a corpse, and I still need to talk to her.
Just avoid mentioning corpse, all right? Stick to the character, tell her to call the police.
I'll take that into account.
And wait here. I've redrawn the people in the photograph. Now you can proceed with your investigation without those horrific details.
What's wrong, dear? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Can you tell me if anyone else has recently entered the flat?
Oh, you're talking about that limping man. I'm sorry I let him in. I was scared. And I thought maybe he would motivate you to find money so that you would pay your rent. No offense, dear.
Can you describe him?
Oh, so you weren't at home. I was so certain you didn't leave your flat that day. He was of average height, had a limp and a tattoo on his neck, and he was smoking Malpal cigarettes. My husband used to smoke those. They have a horrible smell I can recognize from a mile away.
Can I ask a favor?
Of course, dearie.
Please call the police and ask them to enter the flat, and don't look inside until they come up.
What? What trouble have you stepped in this time?
It really doesn't matter. Thank you, Mum.
Phew, Sherry, that was close. But you did everything.
Don't miss
Oriental
out on my
rugs at a good
unique
price.
clothes. Let's pick something that suits you. A good choice. A good choice indeed.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm sorry, my brother. I know nothing about it.
Do you know anything about this?
Yes, friend. Let me explain.
Beasts!
Murderers!
They're completely livid.
Where do you think you're going? Speak with the chief.
Sir, this place is off limits to the public. Please state your business or leave, or I shall request that the police escort you out.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a witness for a case.
A private investigator? Really? Even so, you're not authorized. I can't let you in.
And you are?
I'm Ronald Harlow, here to handle the refugee situation on behalf of City Hall. I'm the acting supervisor here, so I have full authority here to ask you to leave, or I shall order the police to detain you for trying to pass the blockade. Please, step back.
What about the murder that this crowd keeps shouting about?
It's mere assumption. I assure you that the situation is under the police's control.
I know you want to deal with this in the right way. You are obviously a professional and a responsible person, but you clearly have never handled a situation like this before.
I am handling it, Mr. Holmes. Don't question my capability here.
And tell me how you do it. You can't even calm this gathered crowd, and as for the police, they're not quite managing it either, are they? You consider yourself a problem solver, but until today, you've been solving problems sitting at your desk in a dark corner of a city hall room. Here, you need a more practical approach.
What are you driving at, Mr. Holmes?
I can help you to handle the situation if you're truly interested in solving things quickly and quietly.
And how exactly would you manage that?
Simply tell the police that I'm with City Hall and I'm permitted to investigate the scene. I'll work out the rest, but in return I need your help finding my witness. She's a young refugee. She's with child or was with child recently.
Look, there is indeed a dead body inside the camp. So even if the girl you are looking for is there, all the refugees are now being detained and interrogated by the police. They won't allow you to speak with her, and I can't do anything about that until the situation settles down.
So it's in our mutual interest to settle it.
Oh. I suppose that things are bad enough that I ought not shy away from help. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell the police to allow you to come inside. Just tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready to take a look at the scene.
All right. Go inside the camp and find Inspector Tewkesbury. He's the officer investigating the scene. Tell him I sent you. Say you're an independent expert from City Hall. He'll fill in the details for you.
I'll find my way with words. Thank you, Mr. Harlow.
Beasts!
So they keep these refugees under a bridge like proverbial trolls. No wonder the people...
Who the hell are you? How did you get in here?
Mr. Ronald Harlow let me in, sir. I'm Sherlock Holmes, a surveyor of refugee affairs with City Hall. You're Inspector Tewkesbury, I presume?
A surveyor? What does that even mean?
In short, I've been sent to conduct an extensive report on the incident for the Colonial Office and to assess all the damage inflicted on state property.
Got it. Another paperworm sent to count money and get food for archive mold. Go on, look around, but don't make yourself too at home. As if I didn't have enough problems before you appeared.
Could you first tell me what happened here?
What happened? People from the bridge above the camp heard a woman screaming and saw a mass of refugees attacking a man. Clearly not a refugee. When the camp guards came by, the man was floating in the sewage canal with a knife in his chest. Bam. A murder. Big news for Cordona.
I'm sure. Thank you, Inspector. And none of the refugees were harmed?
One fellow was cut. He's lying over there near their kitchen. He's in a bad way.
You mentioned a woman screaming who attracted the bypassers on the bridge. Was she harmed?
No, she's all right, but perhaps the whole debacle started because of her. She started wailing and the refugees stood up for the girl.
And where is this young woman now?
Back there in the shacks, same as the rest of the refugees. She's been questioned by my men, but she's just some refugee girl. Can't understand much English.
Did you learn anything about the dead man?
The fellow looks like a thug. I've had dozens like him fished out of the sea over the past 20 years. Ever since these refugees arrived, there have been people on Cordona with bad blood in them. My best bet is that this thug had something against them too.
And no clue as to his identity.
He had some items on his body, but nothing to indicate who he was or where he was from.
I think I should catalogue his possessions in my records.
Go on. They're on the table near the body.
Do you have any suspects yet?
You're joking, right? I've got a whole camp full of suspects. And if you ask me, this bloke had it coming. Better bury him and forget about the whole thing. And now there's a crowd gathered at the camp, and my superiors say we must thoroughly interrogate the refugees. At least those who can understand any English.
Do you believe that your superiors wish to get rid of the refugees?
I think that both our superiors would rather keep the story quiet. Since that's an unaffordable luxury now, they're looking how to protect their public image. That's why I have to waste my time waiting for my people to turn every stone and befriend every refugee.
Here we go again. Number of hours on Cordona before stumbling upon another dead body? 0.
Clearly a left handprint here. A furrow in the ground. A blood trail leading to or from the canal. Someone bled profusely here. A fresh crack, as if the crate was hit recently. Police boots. Always happen. A heavy boot with a worn-out sole. A man's footprint. Oh, carnelian agate beads, a traditional African adornment. The blood sprayed off the blade after the strike. It might have been used as an improvised weapon. It might have been used as an improvised weapon. No hint of blood or impact. Someone was dragged against their will. The cut is deep, potentially serious if not treated immediately. He is in shock, feverish and dehydrated.
Sherry, you know first aid. Surely you have a duty to help this man. You can't leave him to certain death.
Someone was dragged against their will. That will kill, not save him. It won't do any good. I'll use it to create a solution. Coal dust under the nails. I don't see much coal around here. An interesting tattoo. Does it mean something? Heavy boots, with one sole far more worn than the other. This man was limping John. A steel dirk, sharp, a common accessory among sailors and soldiers. I'd say the blade penetrated upward, however the wound is too messy to be certain. A violent death. This man, limping. Coal dust. I think we're onto something here, John. I'm afraid these leaves can only be added to tea. I can use this to stop the infection from spreading. Nausea and stomach pain is not what he needs now.
If they find out about the passage, everything will go.
Sherry, just look at this. Living quarters in a sewer. What kind of a genius bureaucrat came up with this idea?
Just washed. Better than nothing to bandage the wound. I've collected all the ingredients, now to prepare the first aid solution.
If they find out about the passage... If they find out about the passage, everything will go to hell. Nobody will know anything if you keep your bloody mouth shut.
The coppers smell fishy here, Sherry. Perhaps we should sniff around in the camp a little more thoroughly.
Thank you.
This should make you feel better, my friend. Now remain lying down and drink as much water as you can.
Well done, Sherry. At least he won't die from the infection.
You still here?
The guards at the sewers were speaking about taking refugees out of the camp. Do you know anything about this, Inspector?
Less than you do, obviously.
And this doesn't bother you as an officer of the law?
I can neither punish them nor put them on the right track, if that's what you're asking. Maybe your friends at City Hall could do something about it, but I seriously doubt that. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of being frowned on for my uniform. If those fine gentlemen you've eavesdropped on are in some shady business, that's on their heads. I'm busy. Don't you have papers to fill? City Hall lubberheads.
Malpal, soaked with salt water. A simple leather sheath. Perfect for a dirk. £1,000. A fair sum, especially considering British currency isn't very common in Cordona. You know what? I'd like to understand.
What?
How did our dead man end up inside the camp in the first place? Sealed shut. I doubt our man could get through these grates. It's unlikely anyone could get in or out of the camp by water without alerting the police guards.
Who isn't allowed to visit the crime scene these days?
No, it's too short for these walls or cliffs. A single Malpal butt. Roadman cigarettes. A brand highly regarded by law enforcement officers. So there wasn't any sophisticated infiltration plan. The good old police just let the man into the camp. Now we have everything we need to get the full picture of what happened at the camp. So, we have a thug who came to take a refugee woman with him. She resisted, but he dragged her by force. One of the refugees stood in his way, armed with a stick, yet he could do nothing against a cutthroat with a blade. The man didn't anticipate that the other refugees would intervene and stand against him. In the confusion, the woman managed to break free. The thug took fright and fled. He was stopped by the falling crates. He stumbled and fell, piercing his chest with his own blade. However, the wound didn't cause instant death. He managed to stand, but still bleeding, he lost his balance on the bridge and fell. Before all of this, the man had freely entered the camp through the main entrance. The police admitted him after they had a short smoke together.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In our man's case, it's the same sword.
You still here? Your problem, not mine. Go and bother someone else with this, son.
Inspector, I believe I can aid your investigation. I know who the dead man is and what really happened here.
You do? Well, good for you. But I'm afraid I'm not the one you need to share your findings with. Speak to Mr. Harlow here. He's the one responsible for settling things in the camp.
You don't even care to listen?
Oh, I do care. And maybe even more than I need to. But I'm only here today to lock the place up, question witnesses, and file the facts. It's sad, but coming up with conclusions is not among my tasks here. You fellows at City Hall do that. Anyway, speak to the supervisor. I'll just stand by and listen to what you have to say.
Mr. Harlow, your refugees didn't murder anyone.
What? Pray tell me what you've learned.
All right, listen carefully. This might solve one problem for you, but will create a few more.
Oh, well, that's a great start.
The man came to the camp intending to kidnap one of your refugees, a woman. What he didn't expect was that the refugees would stand up to protect the woman. A brawl had broken out. In the chaos of it, the man stumbled over those crates and fell on his own blade.
How do you know he fell on his own blade?
The wound in his chest was inflicted from an unusual angle. It was not an offensive stab, shall we say. The refugees didn't touch him. And judging by the blood at the scene, the intruder managed to raise himself but was unable to walk very far. He ultimately fell into the canal.
But how did he sneak into the camp? Why didn't the police see him?
And this is where your new problems emerge, Mr. Harlow.
What do you mean?
You're not a dull-witted man. You know what I mean. There is no feasible way to get into the camp without the police guards knowing of it.
The pile of mess I had to sort out has just become bigger, but somehow that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, I thank you for your help, Mr. Holmes. I'll take it from here. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the police aren't detaining the refugees any longer. You can go back in and look for your witness.
You think one small clock can make any difference? In this place?
Who knows, John? Just one ill-fitting cog could make the whole machine crumble.
You're the one who tended to our man's wounds. I thank you greatly. The police didn't allow us to help him.
The police will leave you alone now. I've proven to them that the man who came into the camp died due to his own foolishness.
Thank you for standing up for us. But nobody would help us without a reason. You're here because you want something.
Yes, I do. I need to speak with the girl drawn here.
The dead man came for her too. He wanted to take the girl away, but we won't allow her to be hurt again. What do you want from Nayla?
Nayla. She was hurt some time ago. I'm here to find the people who did this and bring them to justice. And to find them, I need Nayla's help. Will you let me speak to her?
Justice. There's no justice on this land. But you helped us, so maybe your words are not empty. You can speak to Nayla, if she wants it. But I will be watching you.
Hello, Nayla? My name is Sherlock. I know someone hurt you. I am here to help. I'm trying to find the people involved and bring them to justice. Please. There is a photograph, and I'm sorry, it is terrible, but I simply must ask. Where did this happen? What can you tell me about these people? Christ, Sherlock. Naylor, I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this.
You come here for me, but you are rude and cruel and condescending. A cross. The man had this cross. Now go away. Leave us be. I do not need another white man's help.
Oh, glad that wasn't me.
Not my best work, John, by a long shot. Naylor doesn't want us meddling. I'm starting to wonder what this all achieves.
But she helped you anyway. Now we know that maniac's face and the cross he wore.
Help
we
me,
can
please.
still catch him.
They often take us from the camps to work. Most don't mind, though. It's the only way we get a glimpse of freedom.
So there's a smuggling ring in the camp. This wasn't the first time that someone freely entered the camp to take a refugee out.
At least it was certainly his last time. My gut tells me that we'll learn more about this ring when we find out where the thug came from.
You still here? I've already told you all I've learned.
The intruder has a most peculiar tattoo on his neck, 2 lines and a point. Do you know anything about it?
You really want to know, kid? Why? You want to play a policeman or something?
I'm sure you have it in your records, so it won't hurt if I have it in mine.
In my records, it's just a tattoo, as it should be in yours. Ah, to hell with you. Suit yourself as to what you're going to do with it. Off the record, though, such tattoos are often connected to a man named Mr. Niccolo Bernadotti.
Bernadotti, you say?
A respectable businessman in Scalario. His company imports goods and wines, and smuggles everything that can be smuggled between the colonies and the mainland. His people can be identified by an obscure tattoo, just like the one over there our friend has. But these are all merely rumors, you see. If Mr. Bernadotti was a criminal, he'd be in prison now. Or hanged, right?
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
You're disturbing a horn. Its nest here, son.
If you're here on matters of signing up for military service, come back tomorrow. Our department needs to straighten out some business. Why are you staring at me like I'm a Madame Tussauds figure? Didn't you hear what I just said?
On my way here, I was wondering whether you might regret what you did. I tried my best to retain at least a shred of faith in humanity. I had hoped that you would hear her scream, see her face in your dreams, or at least once asked yourself how Naylor might feel.
Who?
Neither of my hopes were fulfilled.
Why are you here?
Do you recognize this man?
We definitely look alike. But you have the wrong person.
Really? Then you won't mind if I pass this along to the newspaper?
All right. All right. Is this about money, as you said in the letter? What kind of sum are we talking about?
I've never written a single word to you. Bribery, not my style.
So, that letter, it wasn't from you?
Well, it appears that more and more people in the city are finding out about your despicable hobby, doesn't it? You're in the clutches of justice, and very soon they will squeeze you. It's in your best interest to cooperate.
Fine. I suppose now we have a nice long talk. Do you drink, Mr.
Sherlock Holmes. And I do not.
Shame. All the best discussions are accompanied by a glass of whiskey. But out of respect for you, I won't drink either.
Respect? That's an unusual word in your mouth, Mr.
Where are my manners? My name is Thomas Norton, a British envoy in Cordona on a military mission. So, where do we start?
So, let's return to the beginning. What happened at the party?
I vaguely remember that night. As usual at such parties, you meet people, you talk with them, they invite you to spend some time alone with them. What can I say? I got myself mixed up with the wrong company, and somebody must have mixed some psychoactive substance in my drink. After that, it's all blurry. I completely lost my sanity. I made a terrible mistake which I regret deeply.
You don't say. Do refugee girls often appear on the menu at those types of parties?
It's rather rare.
So you didn't attend the party to engage in an exotic experience involving a vulnerable woman unable to accuse you of assault?
I would never have planned such a terrible thing. What happened was just bad circumstance.
The painting that depicted you in the image of the devil was stolen by a mercenary. Did you have anything to do with it?
I might be a rotten person, sir, but hiring criminals for illicit purposes is not in my daily schedule.
And buying the painting in an attempt to hide the crime, is that on your daily schedule?
What would you do in my situation?
I would never put myself in such a situation.
You're young. I could never have imagined myself in my current position. Yet, here I am in front of you. We all make mistakes, Mr. Holmes. And I'm no exception.
Boniface Mercurio, does the name mean anything to you?
He's an artist, right?
The one responsible for the painting that compromises you. I found him dead in his room.
Oh, that is bad. Wait, You don't think that I have anything to do with this?
You had motive to kill him.
Maybe I did, but listen. I know how this looks, but murder? That's on another level. I had thoughts that this Mercutio...
Mercurio?
Well, him, yes. I thought he could have been the blackmailer. But I was too afraid to make any hasty decisions. There were plenty of ways to fail by making a move, so I chose to wait. To see what he would do next. You have to believe me.
I don't believe people, I believe evidence.
Then look at the evidence.
You mentioned blackmail. Tell me about it.
All right. A couple of days ago, I received an anonymous letter. It said that in the art gallery at Caravansary there exists a painting that incriminates me. The blackmailer made it clear that if there is a painting, then a photograph exists too. And I should be wary of what it might do to my reputation.
What does the blackmailer want from you?
Money, of course. What else do such people want? Needless to say, I don't remember anyone taking photographs at the party. Up until the last moment, I hoped he was bluffing. But he wasn't, as you've just proven to me.
Show me the letter.
I burnt it as soon as I read it. I've left enough evidence. There's no need for any more. Mr. Holmes, I've built my entire career on hard work and uncompromising dedication to the Crown. I made a mistake, but I'm not a villain from some cheap adventure fiction. By putting me behind bars, you will benefit precisely no one.
Rotting in prison is the least you deserve, but I have a better idea. You will make amends and help the ones you hurt. Naylor deserves the very utmost of what you can do.
Help the girl? I can't risk the press paying extra attention to her. I will do anything except that.
That's not all. Use your connections to help patriate the refugees, find them decent homes, give them jobs. There must be a meaning to your position and my decision.
Yes, all right, I can do that. So, will you give me the photograph now?
I need to think this all through. Don't do anything foolish in the meantime.
What makes you think you can decide what's best for these people?
Such is the arrogance of British imperialism. I take your point. This earthenware came a long way from the Staffordshire potteries.
These workers don't look like your average Cordona folk.
They're
So many
refugees from the
goods
camp.
here. Let's find something illegal.
Porcelain friend for every child. An essential remedy against sea scourge on any ship.
That's our way in, Sherry.
Hey, yo. This is private property. You lost something.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm investigating a robbery, and Mr. Bernadotte may be just the man to help me with...
You're a copper?
I have nothing to do with the police.
Mr. Bernadotte isn't seeing anyone. You have 3 seconds to walk away, or you'll never walk again. Capito?
It's in Mr. Bernadotte's best interest to...
1.
I did try to resolve this peacefully.
I'm coming.
No more crime for you until next month. How do you do? Too simple.
I'm coming.
No more crime for you and...
The snuff's ready. Give him the pepper snuff.
Too simple.
The snuff's ready. Time to knock this guy out.
Don't cry, you'll live.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Don't bother moving. You've lost.
You can overcome the brute now.
I'm coming for you. I couldn't miss the party.
Too simple.
The snuff's ready.
Don't bother moving. You've lost.
Give him the pepper snuff. Sherry, look. This seems familiar.
Masks, traditional for the Chokwe people of Central Africa. A Dogon statue from West Africa. A century old at least. VH Grindley Flow Blue Tableware. This is what lies behind the facade of Bernadotte Company Limited. Let's see what's hidden there. Vogel's stolen painting. Isn't it curious how it developed into a much more interesting case?
No, sir. Don't hurt me.
It's all right. I won't harm you.
Like you didn't harm the folks on the way here?
An amazing piece of culture. I imagine many collectors and museums would be interested in having it.
Don't come any closer. One step and I'll shred you to pieces.
Keep standing in my way and no one will ever see you again.
Righto. Yes. Yep. Well, excuse me, sir. I think I hear... I've got to... It's better I leave.
Whoa. Oh, wow. That was as if somebody put my words in your mouth.
I suppose it's Mr. Bernadotte with our fine governor. 1875. It's taken a few years back. John, how many people in Cordona have a photograph with the governor, do you think?
You definitely don't have one.
Please don't shoot me. I have a family. Spare me.
So, you've cut through all the guards just to talk to me. Then come here, and we shall talk. Whenever you're ready. I'd hate to intrude.
Bad news. The thug you sent to the refugee camp only succeeded in stabbing himself. His next and final journey will be to the morgue.
Hold your horses. Who the hell are you?
Sherlock Holmes. And you are Niccolo Bernadotte, a smuggler, kidnapper, and notorious cutthroat, among other things.
Few men would dare waltz into my office and address me like that. You are either overconfident or unintelligent. This is private property. Give me one reason why I should not shoot you on the spot. I am sure my friends at the station would call it self-defense.
Mr. Bernadotte, do you know the name Boniface Mercurio?
I do not.
Mercurio was a local artist. Recently, a man broke into his apartment, ransacked the place, and killed him. The thief was looking for something.
You are testing my patience, boy.
In a moment, the connection will reveal itself. As I said, your man was found dead in the refugee camp. He was there to kidnap a woman, but the other refugees intervened to try and save her. The ensuing scuffle resulted in the man's accidental suicide. He sported the same tattoo as your men in this building. In fact, it also bears a resemblance to the one on your neck. Care to explain what business your man had with this woman?
You have no idea what you are talking about. I can assure you this was no kidnapping. The refugees in the camp are on edge. What happened there is a tragic accident, one I am not responsible for.
For what reason was your man there if not to abduct her?
Why would I answer? You are yet to justify your presence in the slightest.
I was hired, privately, to investigate the recent theft of a painting from an art gallery. My investigation led me to a man from your organization, and thus, to you, Mr. Bernadotti.
That is quite a stretch. Why would I need to steal a painting when I could buy anyone I wanted?
Interestingly enough, I spotted the stolen painting in your storeroom.
I buy and sell a lot of things, Mr. Holmes. Unfortunately, if this is true, it is not the first time I have been sold stolen merchandise. I presume you were hired by the owner of the gallery. Tell them to contact me, and we'll sort out the situation. So, this painting is why you broke into my office. So many words, so little action. When you barged into my office, Mr. Holmes, I got the impression you wanted to talk business. Now I see you had come just to talk. Tell me exactly what you want, or get out.
It was necessary groundwork for what comes next. I have enough evidence to conclude that the gallery thief, the artist's killer, and the dead man in the camp are all the same person.
Your time is almost up, Mr. Holmes.
Before you draw your gun, there is one final detail I am yet to mention. The young woman your man was tasked to collect from the refugee camp had been defiled at a perverse masquerade party. That violation was captured in a photograph by Boniface Mercurio and used as a reference for his painting. The photo shows the attacker's face.
Finally. That's why you're here, Mr. Holmes. You have the photograph.
It is what your man was after when he broke into Mercurio's apartment, and it is what you're after too, isn't it, Mr. Bernadotti?
You have the photograph with you? How much do you want for it?
I am not naive enough to carry it with me, but I am yet to decide what I shall do with it. I know the man in the photo is a British envoy. What interest do you have in his downfall?
I must admit, I am rather impressed by how comprehensively you have pursued this matter. And so, you deserve the honest answer. My business dealings are often arduous in their bureaucracy. A man in his position, willing to look the other way, could ease my work significantly. In return, I will make sure no one looks his way either. A favor for a favor.
Also known as blackmail, the modus operandi of any true professional.
It was not originally my idea. Mercurio set things in motion, extorting the envoy for the most trivial of ends. Money. In response, the envoy hired my man to retrieve the painting and the photograph, eliminating Mercurio's leverage. I only learned the whole story after the artist was killed in his home.
And rather than extricate yourself, instead you took over Mercurio's venture.
It fell into my lap. As a businessman, I simply seized the opportunity. Now, how much do you want for the image?
Why should I give you the photograph?
Just name your price.
What if my price were not money? You claim to have connections, Mr. Bernadotti. Perhaps you could improve conditions for the refugees. Give them a chance for a better life.
Ha! I do have connections, Mr. Holmes, but help the whole camp? You are asking too much. I could, however, make arrangements for one person. The woman who was violated will have her own home outside the camp, solely for her and her child. She will no longer be a refugee, but a princess. That I can guarantee.
Is that really possible?
It will be neither fast nor easy, but I can do it. She deserves it, don't you agree? And as for her abuser, he will serve me, as much as he deserves.
So in your plan, Everybody will be given their due. Especially you, Mr. Bernadotte.
Seems like a fair deal, no? I doubt anyone could offer you better. Simply give me the photograph, and the world becomes a better place. I give you my word.
The front door's now open, sir. You can leave through it. If you want, of course.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold. He was tight-lipped about the painting, too.
Huh, he's dead. How very droll, Mr. Holmes. One presumes you were not responsible.
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
He was not having a good day on account of his murder. Killed in his own flat by the same person that stole his painting.
Oh, sweet Mercurio. Perishing in the pursuit of his art. How apt. I will miss his exceptional sense of humor. What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
I found the painting, but I could not retrieve it.
Well then, where is it?
In Bernadotte's office.
Bernadotte? That shady businessman? Why would he steal it from me?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask him yourself.
I take it you found something more then.
I found the source of Mercurio's artistic inspiration. A photograph. What troubled me was that the sexual act captured was non-consensual.
She was violated? Dear God, how despicable.
Her abuser was in fact the British envoy. Mercurio took a picture of him committing the atrocity and then used it as artistic inspiration.
I had no idea a mere break-in would eventually expose such barbarity.
Mr. Vogel, I want you to make everything public, including the photograph. I'm sure you have a connection at the Cordona Chronicle.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. Loyal to your own truth till the end. Yes, I'm acquainted with the staff of the Chronicle. The story is sensational, and will surely draw attention to the gallery. But you must be aware that exposing the scandal will further hurt the victim. Does that not bother you?
No matter what one does, the truth tends to come out, as well it should. I won't be the one to stand in its way.
Though it's only your subjective truth being exposed. Not that I'm judging. It's perfectly reasonable for everyone to have their own views.
When you called me, you knew exactly what you would get.
Oh, but I'm not like you, Mr. Holmes. I cannot be sure of anything. Regardless, I must thank you, for art's sake. Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured. It's a bizarre object, and yet oddly familiar.
Did you just remember something?
Yes. A room full of curiosities and artifacts. I think I can find it in the manor.
Sherlock. So, you continue to pursue the imaginary. I had hoped you might have got all this out of your system by now.
Mycroft, what are you doing here? Get out of my house.
It's my house, actually. I've come to bring you back.
I have no interest in returning, let alone with you. I know you lied about Mother all these years, claiming she was merely ill, but she was unstable. She never had tuberculosis. She was not recuperating, but mentally deteriorating, and you never once thought to tell me. How dare you?
I shall not indulge this petulant tantrum. You can just tire yourself out and then slink back to London with your tail between your legs.
Just tell me everything. I'm an adult now. Show me the basic courtesy of an explanation. You know I will find out eventually.
The goal was stability, and that's what you got. The right thing for everyone was to try and move on from her passing.
The consequences of one's actions determines what is right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. The ends justify the means. After leaving Cordona, Sherlock, you had a normal childhood. In London, I was able to support you, guide you, shape you into a fine and productive young man. You have so much potential, so much to offer society.
But that's not the end. Now I found the truth, and it has shattered everything I knew about her, about you, and about myself. I feel unstable because of you. Your actions were not justified. Lying never is.
Oh, grow up, Sherlock. It was a white lie which has as much use in the realm of the interpersonal as the international. It is time you come to accept that some things are bigger than yourself.
Oh, you are full of it. You like to pretend you care about the big picture, but it's just an ego trip. You like knowing more than others. You like greasing palms and rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful. You like having eyes and ears everywhere. The fact it helps the nation is incidental, because all you care about is yourself.
It's true. I have agents everywhere, including Cordona. If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd realize that means I'm only here for you.
I remember returning home with a pair of perfect sticks. We wanted to turn them into training swords.
Oh, that's right. We stood there, frozen, staring at something huge in the main hall. It was a giant aquarium with a living mermaid in it.
Impossible, it must have been something else. Oh, of course, that mortifying hoax presently taking up space in our front yard.
Well, fine. Your memory's better than mine. But I'm sure we started examining it immediately. And someone else was around too.
It was my mother. She asked what I thought of the artifact.
You were really concentrating and holding something in your hand.
I inspected it with a magnifying glass and was able to confirm it was made of two different skeletons. The mermaid was a fake.
And so it was time to smash the thing. Your mother took a hammer and...
Slow down, John. That's not how it happened. I remember other people joined us. The workers took the artifact and placed it into the cabinet of curiosities. It became part of Mother's collection of fakes. She always said that the truth lies in the details. This mermaid helped me to learn that. Ah yes, my mother's studio. She was an authenticator, and this was her cabinet of curiosities.
I never saw the point. What does it matter if some artifact is real or not? It still exists.
Clearly, it was deliberately torn. I wonder why someone would do that. The Tulpa, Studies in Tibetan Mentalism. An impressive number of bookmarks. Someone was rather obsessed with this subject. The full-plate armour of Sir Robert Saunford. I was told my father won it in a wager.
Armour is armour, but look at his sword. Oh, how badly I wanted to wield the blade. Maybe you take it instead.
Mother
of your
said this
pistol.
was among the hunting trophies of a Scottish Viscount.
So he tried to persuade everyone that his forest was inhabited by these beasts. It would have been thrilling if it were actually true.
Another fake Holy Grail. Its owner claimed to be the heir of King Arthur. Scarcely believable. He also insisted a deadly rabbit was hunting him. Watkinson and Holman, Chapter One, by Wallace D. Oram.
Oh, Mycroft. He always acts so serious, but then reads tripe like this.
John, if I remember correctly, you couldn't put this book down. I remember this cozy blanket. It was perfect for...
Wigwam! Oh, that was a joy to build them. Imagining ourselves as wayfarers on the other side of the world.
Oh, I remember these. We used them to spar together until Mycroft found out and forbade us from using real weapons. This photo caused a lot of fuss. My mother spent some time to prove it was a fake. 1852, Bingley, West Yorkshire. many calling cards. Mycroft liked to keep useful people at hand. Reliable and driven. I recognise Mycroft's handwriting. Officer Luciano J. Placido. This drawer was always closed. Only Mycroft knew how to open it.
I remember we tried to break it open and spy on him, but alas, had no success. Maybe today's the day. Oh, Sherry.
Carefully opened. Dated 24th of April, 1869. I'm starting to remember something.
Look, it's Roger. This jolly old man's well preserved. Even looks refreshed.
I doubt he drew much interest at the auction.
That's for the best.
The so-called mummy of a
I'd be
Persian
upset if it
princess.
fell into the wrong hands.
The defrauders did good work, but missed one small detail. It's the mummy of a man. The so-called mummy of a Persian princess. And this one was brought from a German museum. They claimed it belonged to Vikings. Nonsense, of course. Vikings never had horns on their helmets. One of the most ridiculous fakes I ever saw. Its owner insisted it was a polar bear. He thought the white paint on the brown fur wasn't noticeable. Ah, the memory comes back. We snuck about watching him.
He closed the drawer and went to the hall. We were like two shadows crawling behind him.
The painting on the wall was slightly atilt. He stopped and straightened it. Then he threw some logs into the fire and sat in his armchair to read.
It's as boring now as it was then. I'm sorry, Sherry, but I think that's it.
Wait, John, we never use the fireplace in the mornings. What if... I think this is what we're looking for. A bit of juniper in the fireplace created a soothing atmosphere. It's the little things, isn't it?
We made it. So what's there?
Single malt whiskey, Mycroft's favourite. Gifted by Queen Victoria herself. Otto Richter. Otto Richter. This one is rather thick. Mycroft can be truly dogged in his research. Dossiers on the most influential people on Cordona. Mycroft always had a habit of building files on everyone he met. I used this ladder to look at the top shelf, right? On the day of Mother's breakdown upstairs.
Right you are, Sherry.
We heard a noise. I can't recall of exactly what, and we didn't have a great view from behind the statue. Books and papers from the table somehow ended up on the floor. Now it's coming to the surface. I feel it.
Come on, Sherry. Let's go outside. Wait. Did you hear that? Come here, Sherry.
You call this progress? Charlatan, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
So there was a quarrel between them. I heard a noise in the hall. Let's check it out. Sherry, look! We've got a parcel here. Hurry up and let's see what's inside. An invitation that comes with a mask. We can't miss this, Sherry.